On our 9th wedding anniversary, my wife was away on a business trip overseas. I grabbed the earliest flight intending to surprise her. However, as I sat in a cab outside the airport, I spotted her. She had returned early and was engrossed in a passionate kiss with a stranger. They were so lost in their moment, they didn't notice me watching. Holding on to the last bit of hope, I called her. "Remember our anniversary?" I asked. I watched her pick up the phone. "Of course, I remember. I even have a surprise for you," she replied. As I watched them in what seemed like a perfect embrace, my feelings turned numb. Perfect timing. "I have a surprise for you too." After saying that, I slowly ripped up the flight ticket and tossed it in the trash. When Lucy walked through the door, I was frying an egg in the kitchen. She covered my eyes with her hands, her voice playfully excited. "Guess who?" Her breath was warm against my neck as she spoke. In the past, I would have played along, but not today. I gently moved her hands away and flipped the egg with a calm demeanor. Lucy didn't seem upset. Instead, she cheerfully pulled out a gift box from her suitcase. "Look, dear, your anniversary gift." I carried my breakfast to the table, casting a sidelong glance at the gift. "I've seen that box before." She offered it to that man who didn't accept it. Now suddenly it's my anniversary gift. I didn't say anything, but Lucy didn't seem to mind. She hugged me from behind, her voice sincere and full of love, as if I hadn't seen her the day before. "Happy 9th anniversary, dear. I can't believe it's been 9 years, and I'm still so in love with you." Her words made my heart feel heavy with sadness. 9 years. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed that the marriage I was so proud of was so fragile. Lucy leaned in, seeking my reaction. Looking into her bright eyes, full of an uncontainable smile, I croaked out, "Lucy, do you really love me?" Lucy widened her eyes as if I had asked something unimaginable. "Of course, I love you," she affirmed without a second's hesitation. I came back early just to spend our anniversary together. The team even complained about the rush, but luckily, I made it. "Surprise. You have no idea how much they envy us. But dear, as long as we're happy, who cares about them?" Her gaze was so genuine that I couldn't help but let out a sarcastic laugh. Her words sounded so sweet. Before, they would have left me grinning like a fool. Watching Lucy chat away with excitement, I couldn't help but interrupt her dreamy talk. "But our anniversary was yesterday." Lucy's smile froze for a moment. She awkwardly scratched her head, but quickly resumed her smile. Time differences abroad got me all mixed up. Watching that smile, I felt a pang of deceit. I used to love seeing her smile. Lucy handed me the gift box as if it were a treasure. "Come on, open your gift." Under her eager eyes, I opened the box. Inside was a pair of men's underwear. Lucy looked surprised. I stared at the size. It was 2 sizes too small. It became obvious who the underwear was intended for. Lucy frowned as she spoke. The sales clerk must have made a mistake, not buying from them again. She seemed genuinely upset, but then her expression softened. "Where's my anniversary gift?" she asked with a smile. I told her calmly I didn't have time to get one. The gift I had for her was torn into pieces, now sitting at the bottom of the trash can. She looked at me, surprised, since I'm usually someone who values special occasions and always prepares a thoughtful present. Lucy suddenly looked like she had an epiphany. "I know. No need to hide it. Hand it over," she demanded playfully. Looking directly at her, I repeated, "I really didn't prepare anything." An awkward silence filled the room after I said that. Finally, Lucy broke the silence and asked, "Didn't you say you prepared a surprise?" I glanced at the divorce papers in the file folder, then back at Lucy's seemingly sincere smile. Amused, I decided not to bring up the divorce yet. I wanted to see how long this charade could continue. Before I could respond, Lucy nodded understandingly. "It's fine, dear. I get it. You probably got busy with work." As she offered me an excuse, I didn't deny it. If she wanted us to keep playing this game, I was game. I simply nodded with a smile. Then, Lucy looked at me with a flirty smile. "Did you miss me, dear?" Normally her teasing would have made me eager, but now it stirred a mix of disgust and nausea. Before I could respond, her phone rang. Lucy shot me a nervous glance before answering. Hello? Sure, I'll head over right now. Whatever was said on the other end had Lucy hurriedly putting on her shoes at the front door. Work emergency, she claimed. Some final project details need attention. She kissed me lightly. Stay put. I'll think of you. I knew she was off to meet that guy, but I didn't expose her. I just agreed. Okay. After she left, I messaged the private investigator. Staring at the wedding photo hanging in the living room, memories flooded back. Lucy and I have been married for 9 years. We went from college sweethearts to newlyweds, overcoming lots of challenges, yet never letting go of each other. Lucy came from a troubled family. At our wedding, her family didn't give her a cent for dowry, and I ended up paying $20,000 as a bridal price. All to help her break free from the shadows of her family roots. I didn't hesitate to gather money for the dowry. Lucy cried and told me back then she'd never let me down in her lifetime. I was her hope, the one who saved her from the abyss. Looking at our wedding photo, my eyes felt teary. Maybe promises only count when they're spoken. Lucy didn't come back that night. I held onto a last bit of hope, thinking maybe I was overthinking. Maybe Lucy was really just at the office. But the private investigator's photos crushed that hope. There she was, still wearing the same outfit from the morning, happily snuggled up to a guy, their fingers intertwined. They looked just like any normal couple. I was told his name is Larry. No background, just graduated college not long ago. Only 23 years old. My fingers trembled as I kept murmuring the number 23. 23. A youth I can't match. I'm already in my 30s with gray hairs showing. No wonder Lucy would cheat with him. Everyone loves young and energetic. While thinking, Lucy texted, "Honey, I have to work late at the office. Don't wait up for me." I tightly gripped my phone. My eyes red and replied, "Okay, don't work too hard." After sending it, I collapsed on the floor. Lucy lied so easily. It seemed like she'd done it many times before. Her constant business trips for nearly 2 years. I used to blame her company for overworking her. Turns out they were just excuses to be with him. That night, I drowned myself in drink after drink. Lucy came back the next morning, seeing the living room filled with empty bottles, and me on the sofa. She gently woke me, frowning slightly. "Honey, why did you drink so much?" I blearily looked at her, tried to speak, but my throat hurt too much. She lifted me up, eyes full of concern. "Did those guys drag you out drinking again? Tell them next time your wife won't allow it." I stared at her. Her concern seemed real, but so was her betrayal. Pushed her away. Lucy didn't get angry. She just patiently said, "I'll get you some hangover soup. Wait here." Once she left, I dunked my head in ice-cold water. I didn't come up until I felt I was about to drown. It made me feel clearer. On the dining table, she left my favorite wontons, and flour cakes available only after a long wait. A wave of bitterness welled up. Was this guilt-ridden compensation after a night? Lucy had been out for an hour. I didn't wait for her at home. I grabbed the wontons and started heading out. As I passed the trash can downstairs, I threw them in without hesitation. Those wontons were like my feelings for Lucy. I loved them, but they had gone bad, so I let them go. I went to work. I had taken time off for a trip overseas with Lucy. There was so much work left unfinished. Soon as I reached my desk, Lucy called. "Honey, I got the hangover soup. Where are you?" While tapping the keyboard, I said, "I'm at work." Lucy's mood changed to anger. "Johnny, didn't I tell you to wait at home? I ran all over for your hangover soup. You left without a word." Of course, I knew. There's hangover soup sold just downstairs. She didn't need more than half an hour if she really got it. But Lucy spent hours. I was drunk, not stupid. I said none of this, just let out a simple mum. Lucy realized her tone was harsh and softened. "Whatever, come home early tonight. I want to introduce you to a friend." After the call ended, I received restaurant directions from Lucy, just a few miles from my office. I thought it over and decided to go. I wanted to see who Lucy wanted me to meet. At the restaurant, The server tried to lead me to a booth. I waved them off. Outside the booth, I heard voices. Sis, you're really introducing me to him? What if he finds out? Lucy patiently replied, Don't worry. I've hidden it well for the past 2 years. He won't catch on. He could help you with job connections. If he knows about you, he'll suspect less. Her words hit me hard. Sounds like she knows me well, but she doesn't realize my lack of suspicion was trust. Trust she's now shattered. I knew who it was. Then the sounds of playful scuffling came from inside. I took a breath, steadied myself, and pushed the door open. Lucy's hands were intertwined with Larry's. Her smile was brighter than it ever was with me. They quickly pulled apart when they saw me. Lucy's smile faded, awkwardly said, Honey, this is who I wanted to introduce you to, my high-achieving little brother, Larry. Larry stepped forward, extending a hand. Hi, brother-in-law. I'm Larry. I looked at this young guy, skin smooth like milk, smiling vibrant and sunny. He was quite charming. With my fingernails, I dug into my palm, keeping my emotions dialed down. I gave a small nod, declining the handshake. Larry awkwardly retracted his hand. Lucy quickly defused the tension. Let's just order. She handed the menu to the server. After choosing dishes she liked, she asked if there was anything else I wanted. Looking at the menu, I said, Add a cilantro vermicelli soup. Lucy heard it and almost instinctively blurted out, Larry doesn't eat cilantro. As soon as she said it, the room went silent. Seeing this, Larry jumped in to break the tension, quickly saying, No worries, bro-in-law, I'm easy. Lucy looked at me like she wanted to explain but couldn't find the words. When the dishes arrived, Larry smiled at Lucy and said, Sis, you ordered all my favorites. You're the best. Lucy laughed out loud, playfully hitting Larry's shoulder. Stop sweet-talking me like that in front of your brother-in-law. I glanced at the 7 dishes and saw that 6 were spicy, while I prefer bland. My heart sank a little. Watching Lucy and Larry's easy-going vibe made me suddenly let go of my concerns. I never imagined Lucy would be bold enough to bring the guy she is having an affair with right in front of me and even think of asking me to help find a job for him. Lucy kept praising Larry, saying he's smart and quick, using all kinds of flattering words for him. At the right moment, Lucy turned to me, Honey, Larry is a bright guy. See if there's any way you can help him find a job. I replied nonchalantly while eating, If he's so bright, isn't he supposed to have no trouble finding a job? Lucy didn't expect me to ask that and stammered, Larry's been too busy and hasn't gotten his degree yet. I chuckled at Lucy. Busy with you? Sweet-talking and fooling around all day, right? Just then, the restaurant owner walked in. Looking at Lucy and Larry, he jokingly said, Lucy, bringing your little boyfriend for dinner again? Lucy's face suddenly turned pale, and she nervously replied, Boss, stop kidding. Larry's just my brother. I have a husband. The owner, who hadn't met me before and didn't realize Lucy's panic, waved it off, saying, Oh, everyone knows it's normal to have a second chance at love. And guys like Larry, every woman would want him. After the owner left, Lucy quickly grabbed my hand, saying, Honey, the owner was just joking. Don't take it seriously. I love you too much to betray you. Larry chimed in anxiously, Bro-in-law, I swear, nothing ever happened between us. She really loves you. Watching their act made me suddenly not want to play along with Lucy anymore. At this point, does her lying even matter? I'm not a fool. I won't believe a few random words. I calmly took out some photos I'd taken at the airport and slid them over to Lucy, saying mockingly, Lucy, is this how you show love? Lucy froze seeing the photos. I sneered, Gotta admit, your way of showing love is unique. If this is your 9th anniversary gift to me, it's quite the surprise. Thanks for letting me know on our anniversary that our marriage is shattered, reminding me I'm just a joke. My eyes were bloodshot, and tears welled up. My intense voice snapped Lucy back to her senses. She looked at me, trembling. You knew all along? I nodded, laughing bitterly. I watched you guys kiss from the car. Staring right at her, I continued, the 9th anniversary gift was a ticket to see you in LA. But too bad, Lucy, you cheated. So, The ticket is torn just like my heart was that moment. Hearing this, Lucy shook her head, tears of regret streaming down her cheeks. I told her, you wanted to know the surprise? Here it is, signed divorce papers. Lucy, you've worked hard these 9 years. I'm setting you free. Lucy grasped my wrist tightly, pleading, no, Johnny, I don't agree. Give me another chance. I promise there won't be a next time. Her tears soaked my wrist, but I shook her hand off with disgust. Lucy, you don't deserve it anymore. My words hit her hard. She sobbed uncontrollably on the floor. Seeing this, Larry hurried to support her, angrily saying, ask yourself, hasn't my sister treated you well? Even if she did the worst thing ever, you shouldn't have pushed her. Looking at him, all self-righteous, I couldn't help but let out a laugh. Before I could say anything, Lucy pushed him away. Her hoarse voice shouted, do you need to butt in on my husband and me? What do you know? What right do you have to judge? Larry froze, bewildered. Sis, but he just pushed you. Why are you defending him? Lucy's eyes reddened, her voice heart-wrenching. Shut up. He's my husband, and we've been together for 9 years. Who else would I defend but him? Larry didn't expect Lucy, who was just sweet talking with him before, to change like that. Hearing Lucy's words made me chuckle. So, she knows we have a 9-year relationship after all. But she still betrayed me. Lucy looked up at me, pleading. Her voice was urgent. Please, Johnny, I really can't be without you. It was just a moment of madness. In my heart, there's no one but you. I looked at her, full of sarcasm. No one else, huh? Yet you ended up in bed with him. Lucy, hearing that, grabbed my hand and pressed it against her chest. She was crying. Johnny, do you want me to rip my heart out and show it to you? Larry was crying nearby. Sis, I'm sorry. Are you coming over tonight? Hearing Larry's words, Lucy snapped. Get out. Larry's tears streamed down his face as he choked on his words. Sis, But Lucy lost her patience. She yelled at Larry, I told you to leave. Haven't you caused enough chaos? Larry cried out an apology, then ran out, still sobbing. Lucy didn't chase after him. She just looked at me, hope in her eyes. But this time I was determined to disappoint her. I turned my head, choking on my words. From the first day you started traveling so frequently, you should have seen this coming. Betrayal is either once or endless times. Even if I could forgive, the seed of distrust is already planted. There's no going back for us. She was sobbing uncontrollably, but I felt no pity, only thinking she brought this on herself. If she really loved me, she wouldn't have hidden that she was sleeping with him for 2 years. Just thinking about it made my heart ache. While I was eagerly waiting at home for her to return, she was overseas with another man. All my sincere efforts turned into a joke. Our marriage was filled with Lucy's lies. The purity it began with was long gone. I knew I could choose to overlook it, but love is possessive. It's personal. I refused to share even a tiny bit. Lucy cried and then, laughing bitterly, said, Johnny, why condemn me for one betrayal? Are you ignoring all the good times we had? Why be so heartless, not even willing to give me one chance? I promise to change, I swear I will. Why can't you believe me? I looked at Lucy, initially wanting to keep things dignified. But clearly that wasn't necessary. Our relationship was now embarrassingly out in the open. Lucy, are you sure it was just once? Over these 2 years, do you even know how many times you slept with him? How many times have you seen him since you came back? I tossed the photos taken by the detective into the air. In an instant, all those intimate photos of Lucy and Larry fluttered around like a cheap show. Lucy's face turned ashen as she frantically picked up the photos. Then she burst out crying loudly. I didn't care, I just stood up and left the restaurant. It should be me crying, right? I gave all my love to Lucy for 9 years. I gave up frequent travel just to be with her more. I never forced children on her when she said she didn't want any. Right before I found out about the affair, I canceled all work to spend our 9th anniversary together. But her betrayal struck a heavy blow, shattering the sweet dreams she wove, dreams I believed in. I wanted to ask her why. Why did she betray 9 years of love? Did she remember her promises? But I didn't, because I knew Lucy forgot. She wasn't the same girl who would squeal at a single rose anymore. I had to face the truth. Our marriage had changed irreparably. I shouldn't live in our sweet memories. People have to move on. You can't stay trapped in the past. At home, packing my bags, tears fell uncontrollably when I saw our wedding photo. I collapsed to the floor, sobbing. I wasn't crying for the Lucy of today, but mourned for what we used to be. I remembered when we took that wedding photo. Love was real between us. Lucy, seeing an elderly couple in the park, said, "Hubby, we'll be just like them someday." I jokingly replied, "What's up? Planning to wrap around me forever?" Lucy hugged me tightly, saying, "Yes, hubby, I'm sticking with you forever. We'll never part." Back then, I'd never imagined the girl who vowed never to part would break that promise first. What was once beautiful now seemed tragically ironic. I wiped away my tears and continued packing. When I was ready to leave, I turned to look at the wedding photo. This time, I didn't cry. I climbed onto the table, took the photo down, and smashed the frame onto the ground. Glass shattered everywhere, just like our broken relationship. I took scissors, cutting myself out of the photo. Every glance at our past sweetness made me resent Lucy more. Having done all this, I turned my back without hesitation, dragging my suitcase out the door. I'd lost any emotional connection to that house and everyone inside it. On the drive, my phone kept ringing. It was Lucy's exclusive ringtone. I set it like this so I'd always pick up her calls immediately. But now I let the phone ring out. Expressionless, I drove, ignoring the flood of messages on my screen. I headed to another apartment I bought. It was meant for our future kids, but since she didn't want any, it sat unused. Devoid of familiar decor, without familiar faces, I felt at ease. The air felt clean compared to living in a house filled with lies. I was almost suffocating there. Reclining on the sofa, casually watching TV, Lucy called again. She kept dialing persistently, as if she wouldn't stop until I answered. Finally, just as it was about to go to voicemail, I picked up. There was silence on the other end, long enough for me to think the call ended. Finally, Lucy spoke, her voice hoarse with tears. "Johnny, I agreed to the divorce. I couldn't find you anywhere. I was going crazy." Her voice sounded like she was crying, like she'd been through so much pain. I hadn't even spoken yet, and Lucy continued, "But first, you need to go somewhere with me." I thought about it for a moment and agreed. After all, if she didn't agree to the divorce, going through the legal process would be a hassle. The next morning, Lucy drove to pick me up. She kept trying to make conversation from the passenger seat, but I wasn't interested. Besides the divorce, I didn't have anything left to say to Lucy. It wasn't until she drove up to the school entrance that I realized she'd brought me to our university, the place where we met, the place where I proposed. It was full of our happy memories. I looked at her, not understanding what she planned to do. Lucy gazed at the school entrance and sighed. "Johnny, this place hasn't changed at all." "Huh? Remember, our love started right here." I just responded with a soft yeah. Lucy wasn't angry. She just grabbed my wrist and said, "Come on, let me take you somewhere." Then we began to run. The sunlight cast our shadows on the ground. I remembered us running hand in hand just like this, when we were 21. Now, I'm 31. Walking along, I noticed the small saplings had grown into towering trees. Time sure flies. I wasn't that young romantic kid anymore. We weren't us anymore. As we passed the playground, Lucy looked at me with a big smile. She shouted, "Remember our graduation ceremony here? This is where you proposed to me." The memory of that bold moment rippled through my mind. In front of all our classmates, I asked Lucy to marry me. Back then, I really thought she'd be my forever. Now, I nodded. I remember. Even our teacher wished us well. Lucy smiled. We were so broke, we could only afford the marriage certificate, but we still went for it. Then Lucy took me up the hill at school. Once we got there, she stepped aside and pointed to a sign. "This is the place I wanted to show you." I saw a fence full of love locks. We'd been here before on the day I proposed, hanging a lock, promising forever. Lucy spoke up. We put a love lock here. If you find it, I'll grant the divorce. Can't find it? It means the universe doesn't want us to separate. Give me one more chance, please. I looked at Lucy, realizing she wasn't ready to let go. But it was useless. Once a heart is done, no effort matters. Lucy thought I wouldn't bother looking. But she was wrong. I started searching amongst the locks. Lucy's face turned pale as she watched. She said, "Johnny, let's have a kid. A child could make everything better." I replied, still searching, "I want you to have a child out of love, not to hold me down. I don't want my kid growing up seeing posts online about how their childhood affected them. I want my kid happy, not stuck in a constant argument between parents. Bringing a child into this isn't fair." Suddenly, it started pouring rain, but I was determined to find that lock. The rain drenched me. Lucy shouted to my back, "Johnny, stop. Come take cover." I ignored her. Finding the lock among hundreds wouldn't be easy. Lucy kept yelling, "Johnny, you're going to get sick." Seeing me unfazed, Lucy rushed over to drag me away, but I shrugged her off. "Leave me alone, I'll find that lock." I wiped the rain off my face and continued. Lucy broke down, yelling through tears, "Fine, I'll give you the divorce. Can you please take cover now?" Hearing her, a sense of relief washed over me. I walked over to a tree and saw her curled up on the ground. At her feet was a love lock. She realized I was looking and said bitterly, "I took our lock off. You would never find it." I thought my plan was foolproof, but I didn't expect you'd be this stubborn. Her voice was hurt and confused. "Johnny, do those 9 years mean nothing? Do you really want this?" I pushed back my now damp hair. "Lucy, I don't love you anymore, so this marriage doesn't make sense." With tears in her eyes, Lucy asked, "Is this all because of Larry? I've cut ties with him. It was just something new. I love you, always have." I interrupted, "Lucy, you don't love me. I don't think you love Larry either. You love yourself most. You enjoyed Larry's attention, but didn't want to risk getting caught. You loved my kindness, yet couldn't resist outside temptations. In love, you can't have both. I can't handle even a grain of sand." Lucy started crying harder. Her body shook. In the past, I would have hugged her for comfort. Now, I just stood by coldly. I no longer feel linked to Lucy's emotions. Her happiness and sadness no longer affected me. The next day, we went to the civil affairs office. After the staff confirmed repeatedly, we signed the papers. The stamps came down, and the divorce was final. Holding the papers, I feel so much lighter now. I'm finally free. Lucy looked at me and struggled to speak. "Johnny, I'm sorry. I know you hate me. I'm not asking for your forgiveness. I just hope you can be happy." I shook my head, chuckling. "No, you're wrong, Lucy. I don't hate you at all. Hate keeps us connected. Now, I don't even have that anymore." Lucy tried to say something more, but I waved my hand. "It's just 9 years. Let's just say I made a bad investment." After that day, Lucy didn't call to bother me again. Instead, Larry reached out. I had no idea how he got my number. At first, I thought it was a scam. When he said he was Larry, it clicked. It was him. He sounded worn out. "Please, Johnny, give Lucy back to me. You're not like me. You've got a great career, friends, and family. But me, I just have her in this city. Please let her go." I didn't understand why Larry was calling me. We were divorced. If he needed to find someone, it shouldn't have been me. I spoke coldly, "I'm divorced. You've got the wrong person." But Larry insisted I was the right person. He said urgently, "Since that day, she's blocked me everywhere. She won't see me, and I know it's because of you." I was surprised listening to Larry. Seems like Lucy really did cut him off. Just as Larry tried to continue talking, I picked up my phone and said, "I can't control her actions. Goodbye." After that, I hung up. Then I just went on with my work. I was performing well, and my boss promoted me again. I'm now the assistant general manager. Post-divorce, my career really took off. I closed a huge deal on my own, earning praise from my boss. My salary jumped significantly, making my colleagues green with envy. Life was great. I'd go out drinking with friends when I was in a good mood, stay home and watch TV when I wasn't. Living alone like this was so comfortable. I got a dog. While walking it, I met my current girlfriend. She lives in the same neighborhood. Since our dogs loved playing together, we ended up chatting here and there. After about a month of that, we naturally got together. She's really caring, puts on a cool front to others but softens up around me, and I really enjoy her affection. I told her all about my past relationships. She didn't react the way I expected but playfully said, "So I'm the angel sent to be with you. You better treat me extra nice." I just looked at her and seriously said, "Thank you. I'm really glad I met you. I'm grateful she was there during my toughest times and thankful the universe sent me such a wonderful girl. She brought so much positivity into my life. She made me feel alive and made me believe it wasn't love that was wrong. It was just the unfaithful person." It's strange, really. Even though Lucy and I were in the same city, our paths never crossed. Until one day, Lucy messaged me, "I heard you're dating someone." I distantly replied, "Yeah." After a pause, she asked, "Is she good to you?" I sent a sarcastic reply, "I only know that we don't lie to each other, and there's mutual trust." After that, Lucy didn't text back. I went ahead and deleted her. There was no need to stay in touch. A good ex is as if they're dead to you. I thought that'd be the last of it. Then I bumped into Lucy while walking my dog with my girlfriend. Out of nowhere, my Labrador started barking at someone. I was about to calm him and reassure the person when I realized it was Lucy standing there, looking awkward. Neither of us expected to meet like that. While my girlfriend was on the other side with her golden retriever, Lucy looked at me, her eyes misty. In a cracked voice, she said, "Long time no see. Have you been?" I looked at her and slowly said, "Thanks for asking. I'm doing well." Lucy was about to say more, but my girlfriend came over with a smile. "Babe, let's go a bit farther. There are lots of dogs to play with." I quickly replied, "Sure, I'm coming." Lucy saw this and ended up not saying anything else. For a moment, we became the most familiar strangers on the street. Leading my dog, I brushed past Lucy and quietly said, "Excuse me," then caught up with my girlfriend. Lucy stayed there a bit stunned, but I didn't look back. I found a better life, and Lucy's just a part of the past I'd rather forget. After that, we completely lost touch. The world's big. Even in the same city, bumping into each other is almost impossible. Meeting her seemed to have exhausted all my luck with her. Some people, once you say goodbye, it's forever. And I don't think of Lucy anymore. Though sometimes, I recall how a girl once would give up everything for me, but she eventually got lost. Our 9 years ended up buried.